Hello everyone, welcome to the U.S. Immigration News. In a significant move on January 29, 2025, President Donald Trump signed the Laken Riley Act into law, marking a pivotal development in U.S. immigration policy. This would impact both legal and illegal immigrants. Named after Laken Riley, a 22-year-old nursing student whose tragic murder by an undocumented immigrant in 2024 fueled national outrage, the act represents a drastic shift in immigration enforcement. With an emphasis on tougher immigration policies, the law aims to strengthen border security and enhance the detention and removal of undocumented immigrants. As this law takes effect, its far-reaching implications are being felt across immigrant communities and the nation's political landscape. In this update, we break down the key provisions of the Laken Riley Act and examine what it means for U.S. immigration. If you are liking this video, please hit the bell button, subscribe, and like it so that you may get updates straight to your smartphone. Now let's get into the video and get started. The Laken Riley Act introduces several sweeping changes to immigration enforcement in the United States, restructuring detention policies, expanding the authority of state officials, and requiring significant logistical and financial investments. A fundamental aspect of the law is its directive for the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, to detain any undocumented immigrant who has been arrested or charged with specific crimes, even before a conviction is secured. This provision marks one of the most stringent detention policies in U.S. history. The types of offenses that can lead to immediate detention under this law include burglary, theft, larceny, shoplifting, assault of a law enforcement officer, and crimes that result in death or serious bodily injury. The rationale behind this provision is to prevent individuals accused of serious crimes from remaining in the country while awaiting trial. However, critics argue that detaining individuals prior to conviction raises significant due process concerns and could lead to prolonged detentions without sufficient legal justification. Another controversial provision of the Act grants state attorneys general the authority to sue the federal government over perceived lapses in immigration enforcement. This new legal mechanism allows states to take action if they believe the federal government is not adequately enforcing immigration laws. As a result, this provision is expected to lead to increased litigation between state and federal authorities, potentially creating inconsistencies in enforcement practices across different regions of the country. The financial and logistical impact of the law, implementing the Laken Riley Act, presents substantial logistical and financial challenges. The projected costs associated with enforcing the law are estimated to be approximately $83 billion over the next 3 years. These costs account for an expansion of detention facilities, the hiring of additional immigration enforcement personnel, and an increase in deportation operations. The law mandates the establishment of 118,500 additional detention beds, the recruitment of 40,000 new immigration enforcement officers, and a 25% increase in deportation flights to accommodate the expected surge in removals. Critics argue that such expenditures are excessive and could divert resources away from other critical areas, including legal immigration processing and border security technology enhancements. Consequences for immigrant communities. The enactment of the Laken Riley Act has sparked widespread concern among immigrant communities, advocacy groups, and legal experts. One of the most immediate consequences is the heightened risk of detention for undocumented immigrants, including those who have not yet been convicted of a crime. Federal immigration officials have voiced concerns that the law could lead to mass detentions, disproportionately affecting individuals with minor infractions who may now find themselves caught in an increasingly punitive system. The law also raises significant due process issues. By allowing indefinite detention before conviction, it has been criticized for potentially violating constitutional protections. The absence of guaranteed legal representation for detained individuals exacerbates these concerns, making it more difficult for them to navigate the complex immigration system and defend themselves against charges. Furthermore, while the law primarily targets undocumented immigrants, its implications extend to legal immigrants as well. Legal immigrants accused of qualifying crimes, regardless of whether they are ultimately convicted, may face heightened scrutiny and possible detention, generating fear and uncertainty within immigrant communities. Many individuals now worry that even minor legal infractions could jeopardize their residency or citizenship status. Another contentious issue is the potential for racial profiling. Advocacy groups warn that law enforcement officers, empowered by the new law, may engage in discriminatory practices, disproportionately targeting Latino, Black, and other minority communities. Concerns about civil rights violations and an increase in racial profiling complaints are likely to emerge as the law is implemented. Moreover, the anticipated surge in detentions could place significant strain on detention centers, local jails, and immigration courts. As more individuals are detained, the backlog of immigration cases is expected to grow, resulting in longer processing times, overcrowded facilities, and increased operational costs. Broader political implications. The passage of the Laken Riley Act aligns with a broader strategy by the Trump administration to overhaul U.S. immigration policy. Beyond this legislation, President Trump has issued executive orders aimed at tightening visa requirements, revising birthright citizenship rules, enhancing border security, and modifying asylum and refugee policies to restrict eligibility. These measures signal a broader shift toward stricter immigration enforcement, setting the stage for further legislative battles and potential legal challenges. Despite bipartisan support for the act in Congress, the law has faced staunch opposition from civil rights organizations, immigrant advocacy groups, and certain Democratic lawmakers. Critics argue that the policy is overly punitive and risks criminalizing immigrant communities without addressing the root causes of illegal immigration. Additionally, the law's emphasis on pre-conviction detention could lead to unintended consequences, including overcrowding in detention centers and legal challenges over constitutional rights violations. Legal challenges against the Laken Riley Act are already being prepared, with opponents citing concerns over due process, potential violations of the Fourth and Fifth Amendments, and conflicts with existing federal immigration laws. These challenges could ultimately reach the Supreme Court, setting the stage for a landmark ruling on immigration enforcement policies in the United States. Looking ahead, the future of U.S. immigration policy. With the Laken Riley Act now in effect, its long-term impact remains to be seen. Key questions linger about how the law will be enforced at the state and local levels, how immigration courts will handle the anticipated increase in detention cases, and whether Congress will move to amend or expand the law's provisions. The law's implementation will be closely watched by both supporters and opponents, as its effects unfold in the months and years to come. Regardless of where one stands on the issue, the Laken Riley Act marks a significant turning point in U.S. immigration policy. As the nation grapples with its implications, it is essential for immigrants, advocates, and policymakers to remain informed and engaged in the ongoing debate over immigration enforcement and national security. The Laken Riley Act has ignited a fierce national debate about the balance between national security and civil liberties. The Trump administration views the law as a crucial step in addressing crime and illegal immigration, while opponents warn that it could lead to widespread detentions, due process violations, and an erosion of civil rights. As the law takes effect, its impact on immigrant communities, law enforcement, and the broader political landscape will continue to shape the future of immigration policy in the United States. That's all we have for this bulletin. The U.S. Immigration News Channel provides all necessary visa information and procedures for your U.S. immigration journey. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application requirements, processing times, forms, fees, and more. We will continue to provide all information about U.S. visitor visas, such as B1 and B2, work visas such as L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5, and family immigrant visas. Thank you for visiting us today, and we'll see you in the next video. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to the channel for more U.S. immigration update videos.